I started it. Week. What is it? 5.
Week 5.
Week 5. Um, First of all, how do you feel about your teams? How are they doing? Um,
I'm feeling really good about my teams that have Jalen Hurts on most of them. So, a good anchor at quarterback
so good.
who's steadily producing is key. So my main league, I lost Javante this past week, but have like Ramondre Stevenson and stepping up now. I just picked up Ken Walker on the wire before the week started, and yeah, so he's stepping into a bigger role. I'll be covered at running back with them and Dalvin Cook, and then my receivers have Gabe Davis, who just blew up this week and helped me beat the guy Cooper Cup owner. So feeling pretty good, really good.
Yeah. Obviously Javante blows, but I have Jalen Hurts in in just one league, and I feel really 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 good about that. Like I don't know how you could. I
Yeah,
unfortunately drafted Trey Lance, which didn't work out well.
yeah,
And in that league, it's a deep league, so it's I mean like you know about it, it's tough. But
I do.
outside of that team where depth is just like hard to come by. I'm feeling really strong because I got Nick Chubb, I got Saquon, Cooper Cup. I just feel like I have solid anchor options on those teams, but
Totally. That
that,
sounds great.
yeah, but
Cooper
that's
Cup.
not here nor there, you know.
I mean,
Um,
I'm in a similar situation with Trey Lance. So like, I lost him, but then I was able to grab Goff, and Goff had a bad week, and that's fine. It's going to happen. Expect that. But then he's on bye coming up. So what about you? What are you doing in this situation? Who are you playing right now when you lost Lance?
I, yeah, I've been I picked up Jameis 2 weeks ago and he hasn't played yet. I started Mitch Trubisky and Danny Dimes. I'm I'm playing Danny Dimes now actively. He got me 12 last week, which is better than a lot of weeks at quarterback. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
just trying to tread
honestly the
water.
person I'm looking at in this league. When Goff is going to be on bye this week, I'm thinking like Danny Dimes looks like the best play, in terms of a ceiling.
That's the thing
It's
is.
between him and Carson Wentz, I guess. And Wentz
Mhm.
has like the Thursday game against Chicago, I believe, in
Did you see
Chicago.
did you see Ron Rivera's quote on Carson Wentz? He was like,
Oh yeah, what makes like the other teams in his
"What's
division
our
better than his or whatever? He's like quarterback.
quarterback?"
Just, I mean, that obviously was cut from a longer
hmm
response. At least I would hope so.
If if it was just like that, I mean that's just like too shitty to be true. But
Ooh,
I don't know.
I don't think Rivera's that savage.
Yeah.
I mean, but he is getting old. Maybe he's getting just like more
hmm
senile. Like, who
Old and
cares?
senile. hmm But
Uh, you want to jump into this slate of games, run them down, and talk about the fantasy relevant guys here?
sure. Yeah. I actually want to start here with this game where Travis Kelsey has 4 touchdowns because it's
Oh
really
yeah,
fresh in my mind. Um,
amazing.
Kelsey has 4 touchdowns and you said 25 yards.
He has currently. I can't even see. It's rushing.
Like he has like 6 catches.
Yep, 25 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Oh my god. Yeah. So
Pretty cool. Valdez
Devontae
Scantling
Adams.
has 90 yards on 6 grabs,
Okay.
leading the way for the Chiefs, and Mahomes already has 40 attempts, and they're into the last 4.5 minutes of the
Oh
game.
my god! And Devontae just caught like a 50-yard touchdown.
Oh wow, yep, three for 124 and 2 touchdowns currently.
Yes, sir.
Huge, huge touchdown, 48 yarder. Yep. So yeah, finally we get some fireworks on a Monday night, prime time game, and that's nice to see. I mean, oh my God, this upcoming Thursday game is going to be brutal.
Mm.
Commanders and Bears. Yeah,
Who is it? Commanders, Bears.
Commanders and Bears. Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, it's going to be brutal.
But yo, what do you think about Josh Allen? He's the guy that's probably gonna be a top 10 running back after this week. Um, and his point
Josh
wise,
Jacobs.
yeah. Or yeah. Josh Jacobs.
Oh yeah, for
Um,
sure. So
my God,
like,
I don't know.
if we drafted now, like, he would have to be in the first round. him and like Barkley would be like the two guys that jump in the first round and pass like I don't know, like Jamar Chase would not be up there. Um,
Who else? Travis
because like
Kelsey
you,
would Travis Kelsey would probably be a first rounder,
yeah, I mean it's
but
interesting. I mean,
late.
there's quite a few studs are all like showing up,
Yeah,
especially this week.
Nick Chubb would be a,
Oh my God, yeah,
a high
Chubb would
pick
be
as
up
well.
there.
But
Yeah, so who, like those top five running backs, I guess Jacobs is probably trying to sneak in there in those top
yeah.
five.
But I like I don't have I mean like I know we usually go through the games like one at a time, but
Mm-hmm.
I just got um the was it Falcons Saints this week?
Yeah,
Okay, that's
the Saints and Seahawks.
okay, it was here. I gotta pull it up. I'm still watching this um Monday night game right now, but I gotta pull up the actual games. um but yo, Taysom Hill had the 40 piece. Um
Right.
that's huge. Chris Olave has a concussion. Um that's not good, but he's been so good. He's been so good. He's like a must start player at this point. Kamara comes back. He has the 20 piece. Um I I don't know. There's just a lot of thoughts about those two teams in general. And then on the other side, or like on the Falcons' turn, like Kyle Pitts, man, I'm like, I, I'm so like I'm taking victory laps like everywhere because like I don't because like I didn't draft him, but I'm also like trying to see if I can like get him for nothing because he's been so bad, like if his owner's totally out, um I would try to get him, but man, he just like he went from like a third round ADP to like where would Kyle Pitts be if we redrafted today? Like,
I
uh,
mean,
he was like a
double
pick like
digit
in the 30s.
double
Like,
digit rounds probably or ninth round. I don't know.
yeah,
Like his name value is still pretty heavy, so he wouldn't. I don't think he would go. I guess not too far down, but yeah, definitely not in the third, man. I mean,
he still
maybe
has
in the Hawkinson range, I guess.
yeah, but and it's like Hawkinson even had that like that big game
Yeah, he blew up
without
like
Amon Ra,
and Swift were out. He did, yeah.
but like that's more than Pitts has had this whole season. It's like he's been really bad. So I don't know.
And I mean, at this point, it's like the coach, right? He's just like not even getting the opportunity. But he's obviously talented enough
Hmm.
to garner it. It's like what's lacking? Is it coaching? Is it that Mariota doesn't want to throw it his way? I don't know.
I don't understand how Cordero Patterson could finally be unlocked after so many years, and then same coaching staff can't figure out how to use Kyle Pitts, and like it's just frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Running game guy, not not so much in the passing game.
Shit. Well, yeah, I don't like that was kind of sporadic. Do you have any like strong? I mean, like I know you're a big Gabe Davis guy, and you don't talk about him, but like, do you have any like strong feelings, thoughts on just like certain players, these past couple weeks?
Um, I guess the biggest, like Geno Smith, is worthy of play in superflex leagues, like he, and and even in these bye weeks coming up in redraft leagues, single quarterbacks. I think Geno Smith is definitely a top of the end streamer if he's not already rostered, which he probably is in a lot of leagues based on the way like Russell Wilson's playing, and some other people like going down like Dak and there was that and Trey Lance too. I mean, people have been quarterback needy already, so uh, if Geno Smith's still out there, consider yourself lucky to try and like grab him. Um, I mean, Najee Harris is like not even startable.
He's had back to back single digit point games, I believe. I mean, he's been like less than RB2 bad, and like you drafted him as like this. Oh, like he's
To be the anchor of your team,
yeah, like he's not a ceiling play, but like at least to do this. But like he's done
he's been
bare minimum.
forget the floor. He's been in the basement.
Hmm.
Um, and they got the Tampa Bay Bucks next week, so like Yeah, if you're starting him, you got like I don't know, balls of steel.
Yeah,
Um,
and I believe Jalen Warren had like double digit points last week as well, if I'm not mistaken. I could be pulling that out of my ass. He actually, I'm gonna stat check that.
I don't know about points, but I think he's getting close to double digit
Oh
opportunities.
no, he had So in PPR, he did have double digit points. He had what would it be 10.2. He had 4 catches for 39 yards and 24 rushing yards.
Yep.
So he's like, I mean, he outscored Najee last week, and the Steelers. He was the Steelers like third leading scorer actually, because I mean like they only scored like 3 points, but
Yeah,
yeah.
he's shown to have some burst, and I've kind of tried to stash him on as many benches as I can. And I'm worried about these bye weeks and that I might have to drop him. But if I can hold on to him, I want to because I think he would have a big workload and he's shown to have some burst. And after these next few weeks, I think the schedule should lighten up at least a little bit. Hopefully,
Uh,
give these guys some opportunity to score.
so Najee is on the end of that total blowout.
Yeah.
And then on the other end, why it was such a blowout, it was the Allen and Diggs and Gabe Davis show. What just
So this is what we drafted Gabe Davis for, is
yeah.
because he's on the Bills, attached to Josh Allen, and he's getting the high value targets. So not only is he getting deep targets, but he's also getting red zone targets. He had, I want to say he had like 6 or 7 targets on the game. He only had 3 grabs,
Hmm.
um, but he did, obviously the 98-yard touchdown. I think the other one was like a 62-yarder, and
One
then he
handed
had like,
catch.
and yeah, and then he caught like a little, and like wrestled it away from the defender, uh, and then and then he had caught like a little slant late in the game. But he also had one of the interceptions on Josh Allen was in the end zone, and it was like to Gabe Davis, where they underthrown just a little bit. If Allen put a little bit more on it, I think Gabe Davis would have been able to make a play on it. It was just underthrown just
Mm.
enough to where he couldn't get to it. But again, he's looking to him to score touchdowns. So that's why we drafted Gabe Davis. Maybe he will give us a 5 point game here or there, but he's going to win you weeks, man. I mean, and this is week 5. He won me. He helped me win week 1 handily, or like in a tight game. If he scores a touchdown and all that, and I win by less than a point. And then this week he helps me blow out the Cooper Cup owner.
Mm.
He leveled that playing field against a guy who's going to see who's like bordering on seeing 20 targets a game. So I mean, um, yeah, it's just silly what Cooper Cup is doing and like how the Rams look at in general. But we'll get there.
Yeah.
Also, Diggs just continues his awesome streak. Another 100-yard game and a score. Mr. Consistent and every bit of that first round capital that you invested in him. But Josh Allen he's just sick. I mean, the guy that had the first, not the first pick, sorry, he had a top 3 pick. I forget which one it was exactly, but he ended up with Jefferson and Josh Allen on the same team, and he is like one that I faced this week, and I'm worried.
I
So
mean like Josh Allen is like you can't project a guy for like 30 points in fantasy football, but like Josh Allen's gonna be like a 26, 27, 28 point per game like score regularly. And it's kind of hard to like for Josh Allen to like reach his floor because like he's rushing for 40 yards and maybe he rushes for a score or it's like he just has so many ways to get there and the Bills are so good.
yep.
And they have him at trade for CMC. It's like this team is just unreal. Um,
Oh my
I mean
God.
Josh Allen's stud.
Yeah, the rumors are going wild with the firing of Matt Rule today, and CMC to the Bills is the first one that's hot off the presses. So NFL world, watch out. Uh, yeah. So, anyways, Bills look great. Every piece, is going to be. It should be in your lineup. You don't
I
sit any of your Bills.
see. I'm.
At least not any of the your guys that you drafted. Who's like
Mhm.
Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, even Devin Singletary. You should be playing as your RB2 when you drafted them as late as you did. he's on a team that's going to be scoring like this. I mean, he only gets 42 yards here, but I mean, he could have easily had 2 touchdowns in the game where they're scoring almost 40 points. It's just the way cookie crumbles sometimes.
Okay.
The way running back landscape is, like, how many better plays are there at RB2 for a lot of teams? What do
Not
you think?
many. I like I couldn't agree more with the Josh or with the Devin Singletary hype, but I want to quickly test your Gabe Davis uh, fandom. All right,
Hmm.
are you starting Gabe Davis over Chris Olave considering health?
Yes,
Are you starting Gabe Davis over Mike Williams?
over Mike Williams. Oh man,
It
you just have a good team if you get to do that. But
such a good team.
um, yeah, I mean, I think that considering yeah, I think you have a higher floor with Davis and just as I mean a higher ceiling with Davis and just as high low with
It almost feels like like Gabe Davis could be that next Mike Williams, where it's like where he can get there like in even like bigger ways too. I mean, like Mike Williams had a monster game, like 23 points.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like it's like I mean it's hard for anyone to have two long touchdowns like that. But like Gabe Davis is capable of those Mike Williams esque like blow up games. But even in a week where they both blow up, he does get to a higher ceiling. So it's like I don't know.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know.
that's that's
I
interesting.
see the meld between Allen and Davis as is stronger than the Mike Williams and Herbert. I think
Hmm.
Herbert's more willing to use more of his pieces, and Allen is he loves Gabe. Like you
Hmm.
see it. He whenever he's asked about him, he's glowing. Like he just loves Gabe. You gotta notice that and that you take it into account, just the way you take into account that Matt Stafford loves Cooper Cup. Like it
Hmm.
matters, and that's where the points follow, I guess.
My God, Cooper, Cooper. I don't know who to talk about, but
We can go to the Rams game and get it over with because
okay.
it hurts to talk about. I mean, Cooper Cup is everything. I mean, but he only gets. Did he get another score here?
Yep, another
Yeah,
touchdown.
another 125 yards, 7 grabs, touchdown,
So,
75 yarder. I mean, he. I regret taking Justin Jefferson over him, and Justin Jefferson's been awesome. So what does that say?
hmm
Um, but he's the only thing that the Rams have. There's no semblance in the backfield. Like Akers going to keep getting run, even though he's been garbage. Not one rushing attempt for Daryl Henderson, oddly enough. Um, Tony Pollard looks awesome with a 57 yarder, and Zeke is, you know, he's
what is going on?
Zeke is still terrible. Like I'm sorry, I don't know, man.
The-
How many times can we talk about Zeke being bad? I'm done with that.
I want
Uh,
to read. There was like wait here. So ESPN's projection says the Cowboys clearly love what Pollard can do with the ball in his hands, but until he consolidates more of a high rushing value touches, it's tough to consider him any more than a depth piece. And it's like, yo, ESPN can understand that
mhm.
like Tony Pollard gets high value touches because he's like just that good. But like ESPN can understand that the Cowboys underuse him. It's like how can like the most
Hmm.
like the general public can like so clearly see like Tony Pollard can be so much more than what he is. I mean
And
he,
that's
he
that's the problem with like
hmm
ownership making the game personal, right?
hmm
Like Jerry Jones giving Zeke that giant contract was like a personal thing. Like you're my boy, so I'm gonna pay you like this much money. Like even
yeah
though it makes zero business sense.
yeah. But I mean we can't change that. But crazy Cooper Cup stat of the day. Cooper Cup goes 7 for 125 and one score, and he brings his average points per game down on the year. Um, After his 26 point game, his points per game go down on the year because he's been that great. So that's all I gotta say. Um,
Yeah. Stafford spread the ball around a lot in this game. Um, I mean, Higbee and Cup both had 7 grabs. Skoranek had 6. Henderson had 4. Atwell with 1. I mean, I don't know. The Rams just don't really have an identity. It seems odd, which is odd after winning a Super Bowl. But like it's just like all Cooper Cup, and we can't win like that. You have to, play as a team and stuff. Anyways, anything else from the Dallas side, like passing game? CeeDee Lamb, you know,
I mean, you're playing CD
you're
Lamb.
starting him, yeah. Are
Yeah,
you starting Michael Gallup or Noah Brown, or is that like
I'm not. Michael
not?
Gallup. He kind of gets there this week, and he got there last week with the score. He's actually coming off that big injury, and he's proved me a little bit wrong because I kind of thought the score was a fluke last week, and I was like, I don't see him doing anything much, but he gets 44 yards. I wouldn't start him, but like last week I was saying like he's like I wouldn't roster him, but he's clearly worth a roster spot because he's number 2 on this team. Um, I mean, there wasn't much to say because Cooper Rush only completed 10 passes, but I mean those are like the two pieces like that you want outside of the running game. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, it'd be hard to start anybody after CeeDee Lamb in that passing game. Even like Dalton Schultz is dealing with the injury and is
Mm-hmm.
non-factor, so and his backups would be off the streaming radar in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. But do you have anything to say about uh the Bengals versus Ravens game?
Okay, Bengals and Ravens. The thing I have to say is that I didn't get to watch it because I was busy with the family. But it looks like I didn't miss much. Um,
Hayden
oh,
Hurst had a big performance.
did he? Okay, 6 for 53 and a touchdown. Okay, Andrews 8 for 89 in a score.
T
Uh,
Higgins with the mystery scratch, burning everybody and their mom.
yeah. So did he not even get targeted? I
I
see
I don't think he took the field. Like I
in
think
the
he
second
was like
half, right?
questionable, and then I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what I read. He left early and they wouldn't let him play in the second half, even though he wanted to or something. Um,
That's making sense. I mean, yeah. And
so I guess
Jamar
that
like
did that hurt the Bengals? Did you get to watch the game? I
I
mean,
I didn't. I'm just curious at this point. I say at this point like it's been years and years and years, but like where, like what's happening to Jamar Chase? Is he any different than he was last year? Because I mean this is a couple down performances in a row, and I mean we've all seen the T Higgins stat like with him versus Jamar Chase, and they're like the same player, air quotes. Do you have any thoughts on this rhetoric? Because
I
everyone's
mean,
talking about it.
seven grabs for 50s, 12 PPR points is very meh
Yeah,
for your first rounder or early second rounder for some people, and I don't think it's what you signed up for when you're drafting Jamar Chase. Certainly not what I was thinking in the few spots I grabbed him. And where are the big plays? Um, that's what's missing here, right?
and he's had 10, well like from 10 to 13 uh PPR points in 4 straight weeks, no more no less. Those are just a bunch of med games. I mean he had the big week 1, but I mean with no T Higgins here, you'd expect something more. Next week he's probably gonna get a lot of Marshawn Lattimore. Um, I don't know. It's like obviously you can't get worried because he's a 23-year-old superstar, but it's not what you hope for up until this point for Jamar Chase.
No, it's not. But you're starting him.
Oh
I
yeah.
guess that's the story at the end of the day. So not much change, I guess, in that respect between these two teams. We're still starting Jackson and Mixon, and P Ryan is not startable. Hayden Hurst is someone that we're looking at the wire for. There's the two guys at the top with Andrews and Kelsey, and then there's everybody else. And Hurst is worth a play any week, in my opinion.
I agree.
This is a good offense, and it's okay to play a tight end. That's a part of a good offense. Uh, Chase we're playing every week. Tyler Boyd is flex worthy for some teams.
Bible.
Um, Other side of the ball, the Ravens were starting Andrews every week, but other than Bateman, I have a hard time trusting anybody. If you have Duvernay and you need him in a flex spot on a bye week, that's where I could see him going. But other than that, I'm going to try and find someone else most likely.
Dude, Duvernay with 3 sneaky carries for 24 yards. And dynamic guy out of Texas there.
And
Left him coming out.
he's getting some work this year.
Yeah.
I think 8 opportunities in this game is a high end for him. Um, but 4 to 8 opportunities
Hmm.
on a offense that's likely to score not so much in this game, but
Hmm.
they're definitely going for touchdowns. And remember, this is a team that also likes to go for a first down.
Also, looking at this Ravens depth chart is like a prospecting like wide receiver breakout age nerd's dream. It's Devin Duvernay. It's Isaiah Likely. It's Tylan Wallace and James Prochet. I mean, come on, man. These are some
Mhm.
classic NFL fifth round and fourth round prospects out here. Just getting it done in the
It's really
19 to
cool.
17 win.
I like. I don't know. I just like Harbaugh, and
Yeah.
that's part of it. Just like cast of characters that pull it together.
Yo, because those are all like players that I liked coming out that I was like, yo, these are solid players. And like, they're not breaking in the game, but they're contributing to the win.
Hmm.
And they deserve a shout out. But also, who deserves the biggest shout out? Justin Tucker, your every week K1 kicker
Yeah,
one. 16
four
points
field
this week.
goals.
Total stud, man. Come on.
Yes, he's just yeah, it's awesome.
But
Best kicker in the game.
100%. Do you have any other thoughts, or do you want to move on to the Eagles and the Cardinals?
Eagles Cardinals. Yes, my boy Hurts. Still getting it done. He didn't throw any passing touchdowns, but he ran 2 in. 61 yards on 15 attempts. Led the way for the team. Um, it was a tight game, but he's the engine that could, and it put them over the top for another win. The only undefeated team left in the league, and you know, can't say enough about owning Jalen Hurts this year. Um, Dallas Goddard was a big contributor. Devontae Smith,
I,
um, AJ Brown was not as much, but I think he was dealing with something, but then came back, and
he,
he had 7 targets, but only 3 catches. Is that what I'm saying?
yeah, Jesse.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Like everybody loves AJ Brown. You can't hate AJ Brown. He's like if you're building a receiver in a factory, he looks like AJ Brown. He's big, strong, fast, consistent catch monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the idea of AJ Brown is always better than AJ Brown. Like I have AJ Brown on my team, and every week I expect him to have like a 40-yard grown man catch and an end zone fade and a couple tough slants and to have like 25 points. But too often it's like 6 for 90, which is like a good game, but it's not great. Or it's this, which is a dud because he's dealing with something, or he's banged up. And like I love AJ Brown, but I feel like he's been out of anybody that's like been ranked highly in a week. He's had like dud games for one reason or another, or like missed games for one reason or another at a
Mm-hmm.
disproportionate rate. That's just my kind of grasp on him, and I'm still a proud AJ Brown owner. But like, I feel like this happens like he gets out alphaed by Devontae Smith and Dallas Goddard. You know, it's like it's just kind of strange. But
Yeah, I see. I see what you're saying, and yeah, in my main league, I have the stack that Hurts and AJ Brown stack, and I'm waiting for it to click at the same time, and it hasn't happened yet. But we got to remember, like, we like Dallas Goddard going in because he's a good player. We like Devontae Smith going in because he's a good player.
mm-hmm.
AJ Brown being there is allowing them to be even better players. Uh, and AJ Brown's still getting looks. He was a little inefficient today. Usually he's much better in that front. And Cardinals have been pretty stingy against wide receivers also. So I think there's better times to come. We have to kind of grit our teeth through this one. Uh, but you know, well, I definitely don't feel like I would like to sell him unless I get some like amazing offer. But I'm ready to ride or die, I guess, this year with AJ Brown and the spots that I have him. But I
Love me,
understand the frustration.
love me as a Major Brown. Um, just feels like he's a a step down from like the Stephon Diggs of the world,
For
and
sure.
and
He's what, the 15 range weekly. Maybe he shouldn't be in the top 12 weekly, but
yeah,
maybe in the team.
he's a fringe wide receiver one, high end wide receiver two, and it's like and because like he's gonna have these games like this, like Stephon
Mhm.
Diggs is barely gonna have a less than a 10 point game, you know, like because he's always gonna score something, you know.
It's like when if I were to go rank like weekly, I would my heart would want to put him over Mike Evans, but my brain would say like we have to put Mike Evans over AJ
Mike
Brown,
Evans,
unfortunately.
right?
And that's kind of where we're at, right?
It's Mike Evans, yeah, Mike Evans range, but all right. I mean, outside of the pass catchers, I think Miles Sanders is a strong top 20 running back play every week.
Great.
He's getting all sorts of volume, and the Eagles are 5-0, and that's all I really gotta say.
Pretty
Um,
much, yeah. I mean, he's the lead dog, and he's running the ball like it, and this team is winning, so he's going to be involved in scoring touchdowns. You ride him until he breaks. Hmm.
yeah, I mean, there was like some people like Kenneth Walker, some people drafted Boston Scott, but it's just the Miles Sanders show. I mean, he's been that dude on this great team, so on this
Yep.
surprisingly great team actually.
Speaking of Gainwell, he's like a drop candidate for me. I picked him up thinking that maybe he would be involved in the passing game more, but he's not seeing any targets hardly, if any, in the game. So he's a drop. He does not need to be on a roster, especially now with bye weeks coming up. It's time to start stashing upside. Running backs with much more upside. Like we should have got Ken Walker from the Seahawks
Mm.
this past week. But if you haven't, if he's out there on the wire, you're dropping all your fab and you're getting rid of Gainwell so you can add a player like Ken Walker.
Do you want to talk about Well, I mean, do you have any strong thoughts on the Cardinals, or do you want to start talking about the Kenneth Walker scenario?
I think the thing to note with the Cardinals is that they're playing just okay right now. They were slated to have like one of the toughest schedules in the NFL, and that's kind of showing here.
Mm-hmm.
Rondale Moore with 7 grabs is something that I would want to take note of because he's one that we thought was going to be involved early in the preseason, and this shows. He's second game back, 7 receptions, 68 yards. I'm happy about that. Want to see more of that. But the other things would be that Connor, I think, left this game, and so we want to watch his injury report and see if Benjamin is someone who needs to be looked at on the waiver wires, because he was the guy getting run before Daryl Williams, and also Rondell Moore I've seen on waiver wire, so he's worth a grab. Um,
Hollywood
but
Brown has been so
Hollywood
good.
Brown's been going off, and you got Hopkins coming back. I mean, does that let this Cardinals offense kick into the next gear? And does that mean that just more for everybody? I don't know, like what's on the horizon for the Cardinals, but this is a strong showing against the Eagles. It's something that you'd like to see, but maybe Kyler Murray could put up some more points here. But this was definitely a step in the right directions for this team.
Yeah. Pretty much sums it up for me. Do you
So
want to move on to the? Yeah. Wait. No. What are you gonna say?
I just want to real quick run down on those players. Like Connor is still a start. If he's out, Benjamin is a start. Williams is not a start at the
Mm-hmm.
running back position. Wide receivers, you are always starting Brown, and Rondell Moore would be a flex option for me going forward after seeing him contribute in this way and be efficient. Okay,
That's good.
next.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Do you wanna go on to we're trying to bet any Kenneth Walker Seahawks?
Yes. Okay, and they took on your boy Taysom Hill, who crushed me
Hmm.
in in the Golden Goat League, which is such a fun league. Glad that we
I
did
love
that.
that league.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we said that already, but yeah, I just want to reiterate how fun that league is. So, if you're interested in it, hit us up in the comments and we'll tell you about what those
Dude,
settings are.
so cool.
So Kenneth Walker takes over for Rashad Penny, who's carted off, and we found out today that he had a season-ending ankle injury. I think he broke his tibia or something like that. And so now Kenneth Walker is, he's a plug and play every week because if you missed his 69-yard touchdown run, go watch it. It was nice, and he's going to get fed, on this team. We know what Pete Carroll likes to do, um, and they're just going to feed this rookie. And Geno Smith is playing outstanding football, so there's no reason to think that the offense can't continue to be efficient. I mean, 32 points against the Saints in a losing effort, nonetheless, but the Saints are still a good team and a good defense, and for the Seahawks to put up 32 points against them, nobody would have called that in the
Mm.
summertime.
No, no, no. Yeah, and man, I mean, this game goes over 70 on the over on the total. That's pretty nuts for
Amazing.
two teams with like no quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, on Seattle, I think Kemba Walker's gonna be really, really, really good. I think he's better than Rashad Penny,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gonna get both Rashad Penny and his work. And this team has been uh, surprisingly good, so he's gonna get some opportunities. Um, so I think he's gonna be a starter going forward. Much like how Melvin Gordon went from an ad to a must start. I feel like Kenneth Walker is going to be a must start, but I mean we'll see. We'll see what happens ultimately, but I'm prognosticating. And then Geno Smith, like you were saying, is startable. You're starting Lockett and Metcalf, and
Mm-hmm.
you could. I mean, I've been saying this like for weeks now, but like in a regular league with no more Tyler Conklin, unfortunately, um,
Mm-hmm.
he's not dead, but he just got one target. Um, that you could start Taysom Hill at tight end in a deeper league, if you really wanted to. Right now he's tight end 7. Overall, it's pretty nuts, and he missed the game. It's only week 5, so God, like he has 5 touchdowns in 4 weeks. He recovered an onside kick. I mean, what doesn't he do? He's fun to watch. Uh, he's charismatic. He's handsome. What more can I say? I don't
I mean,
know.
that's the kind of guy who wins over a coach, right? And what do the coaches reward those type of players with? High value opportunities. Opportunities where they need to go with the person that they trust, and that's what was on display here. This guy, he's making the gadget plays work because he's smart enough to understand the gadget. Uh,
Hmm.
Coaches love that stuff. So absolutely startable in a one QB league. I mean, the guy who's the Pitts owner in our league, he's also the Josh Allen, Justin Jefferson owner, right?
Hmm.
Um, Kyle Pitts was like his hold, but he got hurt this week, so he goes and picks up Taysom Hill, bro, and he put up over 200 in our league this
Oh
week.
my God.
Just, just went absolutely nuts. Uh, but that's the point. Like that's just a 12-man, one QB league, and you're starting to. He's definitely starting Taysom Hill over Kyle Pitts next week. How do you not? Right?
Pitts sucks so bad.
I
Pitts is
mean,
so
and
bad.
that's a real world scenario, kids. Like the Pitts owner is gonna start Taysom Hill next week over Pitts, even if he's healthy.
That's crazy. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Who would have thought?
Week 6, that's gonna happen. Not
Yeah.
even it's not even like week 12 where like any kind of attrition is set in. We're talking week 6, kids.
Shit's nuts, man.
Yep.
But I mean, Taysom Hill, probably the most efficient 30-point game you'll ever see, on like 10 touches, one throw. He has 7 or 14 less carries than Alvin Kamara, but outgains him. He also scores 3 touchdowns. Um,
Just stick with it.
it's nuts. It's fucking nuts. He has 112 rushing yards. But enough about him. Uh, Kamara's back, and he's finally healthy, and he gets
Mm-hmm.
6 for 91. Even when Michael Thomas is there, Alvin Kamara is gonna get his. He's back to being a weekly RB1 for me. Olave is a must start when he's playing, but he's hurt. Adam Troutman scores on the Taysom Hill gadget play. Don't start
Mm.
Adam Troutman. He's not good. Don't do that. Um,
No,
once Thomas comes back, Michael Thomas that is, you're gonna play him. But until then, it is strictly and very 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 strictly only Kamara, Olave, and Taysom Hill on this team.
agreed. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, you're relying on Andy Dalton after that, right? You know,
Hmm.
so it's just not something you really want to get behind. But the centerpieces are worthy, like you mentioned. Um, and we already talked about the Seahawks, so we can talk about the next game. You want to talk about Dolphins Jets?
Let's do it.
Okay, yeah, Conklin, the apple of my eye. In the first few weeks was really filling that hole for me at tight end, and because I punted tight end in most of my leagues, so I was ending up with I have like Everett in a lot of spots, and both him and Conklin ended up with like very bad games. I think Everett had 1 point and Conklin had the zero. So what happened was we go to Zach Wilson, right? And here it is, 21 passing attempts
Mm.
for Zach Wilson compared to what was Flacco doing, 59 attempts in the
Yeah,
game and over 40 and over 50 again, I think. So
yeah, and
there's your difference, right? The opportunity is gone. So sorry, go ahead.
no. It's not just like Conklin. I mean, it's Garrett Wilson with his second dud in a row.
True.
It's Elijah Moore with one catch. I mean, it reaches everywhere. If your name's not Brees Hall, you didn't get there this week. I mean, Michael Carter vouched. Uh, I mean, I'm just seeing now the Jets had 5 rushing touchdowns, which is kind of bizarre. Um,
Mm.
but
And then Paxton Barrios had one.
yeah, yeah, it was one by Barrett, one by Wilson, and then one by the two backs. But I
You know,
mean,
I own. Speaking of Barrios and his rushing touchdown, I mean, I own him in one of my dynasty leagues, and it's just like, when am I going to start this guy?
never.
But
But like,
he's like scoring though, and I'm like,
yeah,
do I
he's a fun
play
own.
him now? Like, I don't know. It's
No,
funny.
he's a fun own. But Brees Hall,
Brees
talk,
Hall.
talk
Yeah,
about a
he's
legit RB1 now.
yes, sir. Go ahead.
Now I mean, I can't say anything that you couldn't. He almost goes 100 and 100 today. He's just 3 yards shy of 100 on the ground, 100 receiving yards. He scores. He could have had 2 more touchdowns by like an inch. Um, yeah, he was like this close to a 40-point game, but he only had 30. So buy low while you can. You
I
know.
think, yeah, no, like I think that window's even past. This coming out party has been addressed. The confetti's in the air, and it's been swept up. Uh, Brees Hall is going to be the centerpiece of this offense. I think going forward. I mean, when you beat your division mate 40-17 on the back of your new rookie, who's already taken over the receiving work for your team out of the backfield, which is like apparently that's like the hard part for rookies, right? To get the
Hmm.
passing work done because it involves the pass protection, which is so nuanced in the NFL and so forth. And the kid's 21. I mean, I have him in both my dynasty leagues, and I couldn't be more excited about like building around him going
Hmm.
forward. I knew that he was going to be this kind of player, and it's been talked about by many people, and now we're witnessing it come to fruition. To expect it in week 1 or 2, it would have been a little silly, but like now, you can like trust that what we thought was going to happen is really happening, and for the Brees Hall drafters, hopefully you didn't already trade him because now is where he's going to start to pay off for you.
Yeah. I mean, Brees Hall, every starter, you're gonna get a 16 through 18 point projection, which looks good in your lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to, I mean, total stud. He's gonna get there on the ground, through the air, elsewhere, doesn't matter. Um, yeah, I don't have many more thoughts on the Jets. So I mean, Miami, what's going on here with him? Him Tua, him being the quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Thompson? What am I looking at? What's going on here?
So Skylar Thompson is the rookie that they drafted late, I believe, this year, and impressed in training camp. I can't remember what round they drafted him in, but anyways, he was doing well in training camp. Advantage liked him. He even kept him on the like active roster on game days to start the year. So they had like three quarterbacks, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
which is unusual. But he didn't throw any touchdowns, one interception. Probably looked okay. I didn't get to watch the game. They're going to be leaning on the run game. Mostert 18 attempts, looked 113 yards, touchdown. I mean, you're going to be happy with that, but they must have not been able to do anything else. So I mean, Raheem Mostert is a start for the Dolphins. When Hill and Waddle would be your other starts on this team. Other than that, I'm staying away. Um, and then I want to see when like Tua comes back or Bridgewater comes back. Like I'm not starting them in their first game back. I don't
Mm.
care. Like I need to give them the game and make sure that they're right. But Hill and Waddle, those guys are they're special athletes and can make turn a slant into 16 fantasy points. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to start them.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't have much else to say except for Chase Edmonds sucks.
yeah,
Um,
Edmonds you can't start only in desperation in a flex spot. But there's probably a better player on the wire. Honestly, like a wide receiver with a better opportunity to get you points.
mm-hmm.
And on the Jet side of the ball, I would say like Hall and Carter are both starters, despite Carter being the backseat now. The team likes him, they trust him, and it showed you two goal line opportunities. Maybe they should have gone to Hall, but like they love Carter enough to say, "Go get us those points, boy." And
Mm-hmm.
he said, "Yes, sir," and they got the points. And he's worth a start. I mean, you got. I would play Carter if I have to. I mean, based on where you drafted him and the the landscape again of running back, players like AJ Dillon getting 5 rushing attempts, like I would. I don't know if I can play Dillon next week after that.
Mm-hmm.
I would look to Carter, who's gotten double-digit touches every single game, no matter what.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the pass catchers from the Jets, the only one that I would start is Conklin again because he's a tight end, and he could just get one catch for a touchdown, and I'd be happy with that. Hopefully he doesn't get a zero like he did this week with only one target and not catching it. But I mean, if my other options, I mean, at this point, when I go to look at the wire for tight end, like what are you finding? Because I'm only finding like OJ Howard. Like
I'm
they're
finding.
all on rosters. Like everybody has two or three because they don't know who to play.
I'm looking at Cade Otton usually. It's it's so it's just ugly. It's grim. Um,
That's how bad it is that everybody wants to have two or three, so they
yeah.
have options because you just never know. Like I mean, you just want to take. You have to stream them basically, and if everybody's streaming, then all the streamers are gone. I don't know, man. It's tough out there. So just try and be ahead of the curve with your tight end plays, or just grin and bear it, and take the zeros where they come because it's not much better out there, anyways. So
Shit's
not
messy.
everybody can have Kelsey.
No. Yeah, 4 touchdowns today. Like I was saying, 7 catches, 25 yards, 4 touchdowns. Great stat line. Um, I I'll be honest. I don't like. I'm looking at these games. Um, I could give commentary on a couple players. I just don't like. I mean, like Colts Broncos. That was an awful game. Um,
Well, the thing to take away from Colts Broncos, let's look at it. Who are we starting? Melvin Gordon is startable.
yeah,
Mike Boone is not startable. You have to
you're
be
starting
desperate.
Cortland Sutton.
Russell Wilson is not startable. Alec Pierce is startable. Michael Pittman is startable. That's it. Um,
And
Jonathan Taylor when he comes back,
yep.
obviously. Sutton and Judy are startable. And that's it on the other side.
And
Not starting Albert O. Um,
Judy's an ugly start at that.
yeah, and
He's
Judy's a tough start. Judy's a very tough start.
yeah.
You're right. He's a borderline sit, actually. If you can sit him, you probably should
Hmm.
until his team shows a sign of life. And then I heard that Wilson has like a lat strain. He got a shot for it, and he's not going to be able to throw a deep ball now for a few weeks at least. Like, and
It's
he
not
should
good.
be sitting, but he's going to play. And oh man, it's going to get ugly. I mean, we thought it was bad now. Like, I think it's going to get worse
Mm.
after the news I heard. I don't know, man. Sheesh.
Sheesh. Sheesh is right. Do I mean, yeah. I don't. It's just that was an awful game. These are two teams. Do you want to go to Giants Packers?
Yeah, Giants Packers. Barkley's is a G,
Barkley's so good.
and he's a must start. He's the RB1.
He's the RB1, yeah.
Um, Aaron Jones is a must start. AJ Dillon is sittable after that game.
Hmm.
Um, based on where you drafted him, he's probably like in your flex spot, or so if you have a maybe a good wide receiver in a nice matchup, I would consider starting him over AJ Dillon this week.
Yeah, I would start Lazard. Dubs is startable, but he's not a must start. Tanyan's
Mm-hmm.
playable at the tight end landscape.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, AJ Dillon is the one guy that kind of gets like shafted here.
He
Um,
did.
I mean, I mean Jones has double the carries. Dillon doesn't have a single target. It's just it's just his it's just the worst game of his year so far.
I
And
think maybe the silver lining with this game is that the Packers lost, and they'll go back to the drawing board like, damn, we just lost to the Giants,
mhm,
and AJ Dillon only got the ball this many times. Like, let's fix that and make sure our sledgehammer's getting the ball.
right, but
So I don't know.
remains to be seen.
I gotta see it one time before I can put him back in my lineup. I think,
Hmm.
unfortunately, but we'll get to that next week when I get to look at my
Right, right.
games. So, Chargers Browns.
Yes, yes. I saw a little bit of this game. Um, Mike Williams, monster performance. 13 targets, 10 catches, 134. But Austin Eckler has an even bigger game. A career high in rushing, 173 yards
Mm.
on the ground on just 16 carries. That's 11 yards a pop for you counting at home. He also gets there through the air, 4 catches, a 26 and a score. Just a monster performance, and it's just your studs on the Chargers, Eckler and Williams, and when Allen's there, you're playing him. But Josh Palmer has always been an imposter. Um, don't play Josh Palmer. He's always been. What's the word I'm looking for? He's like the idea of him is has always been better than him. He's gonna be like a 12-point projection, and he's gonna be like a
Mm-hmm.
3-point scorer
Mm-hmm.
because he's just not that good. He was overdrafted from Tennessee in the third round, and his expectations are just too high, and his pants are too big to hold up. Um, yeah, uh,
Little overhyped. Not really. Not really living up to what we're the expectations right now.
yeah,
Um,
and I mean, if you're not starting Josh Palmer now, when you ever gonna start him? When one of the big receivers are down, it's like, oh, like plug him in because he's
mm-hmm.
next up. But if you can't start him now, why would you ever start him? Just drop him now and get ahead of it. I don't like him, but
Great.
yeah. I mean, besides that, on the Browns, Nick Chubb, thank God. I, the RB2 maybe. I mean, I don't know about going forward, but at least in scoring, he's up there. He has
Mm-hmm.
another 30 points. Um, Amari Cooper is doing Amari Cooper things with his on and off. David Njoku's a stud. Um, and Kareem Hunt, is he gonna get traded? Who knows? In the meantime, you're probably still playing him, but I mean, it's still the Nick Chubb show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick Chubb is locked in as your RB. Hunt is flex worthy, and a strong flex play at that. Um, Cooper's is a must play at the way that he's playing, and Jacoby Brissett's exceeding his expectations. So you got to play Cooper. And then in Joku, I want to touch on. I mean, I watched the end of this game. I think which most people did because what the one I was watching cut to this one,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a play where Njoku was hit on a crosser to pick up a first down, and you could see him after he made his cut and was running towards the sideline, he was like gaining ground on the. I couldn't tell if it was a safety or a linebacker who was chasing him, but you could see it. Like the linebacker's putting all of his like effort into like chasing down Njoku because he's got to get him from behind, and Njoku's just like gliding and is like and is just gaining ground on this dude like, and it just looked so effortless for Njoku, and I was like, wow, he's fast. Like
Hmm.
it was just like so plain in that moment how fast and athletic the guy is, and yeah, I mean, I drafted him in a few spots and dropped him, and I'm so pissed because I should have just like stuck it through the first couple of weeks because now I think he's going to be, him and Cooper are really driving this passing game. So those are your four starters on the Browns: the Chubb, Hunt, and Njoku, and Cooper. They are all very much start worthy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why we draft athletic tight ends. They always do this at some point. It might not be right away, but um, OJ Howard will have his moment at some point, just like David Njoku is now.
Right,
Um,
it took a while,
it's
right? But we got
it's
there.
yeah, it's 5 years too late, but um, but yeah, I mean, I don't have much else to say. Do you want to go on to Bears Vikings?
Bears Vikings. This is a game I got to watch,
Yeah, I watched all of it too.
and
It's great.
yeah, a good game. I mean, Dalvin Cook. This is what we were drafting him for, right? Eventually he's going to score touchdowns, and
Yeah.
who else but the Bears?
Oh man. Darnell Mooney had a great one-handed catch. And that's about it.
And that was Montgomery came back. I see had four grabs for 62 yards
He
and
had a good
along
game.
with
Yeah.
30. And how many attempts did he have? 12 attempts, only 20 yards, but he did score. Um, yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I don't know. The Bears are ugly, and Montgomery would be tough to start for me. Like I didn't draft him anywhere, so I don't know what the situation would be like on your team if you have him. But you probably have to start him. If you
yeah.
could get away with not, I would try to. Um,
He's like
and
such the definition of like he's not on RB2. He's the RB2. Like
and
he's like
that's it though, right? From the Bears, like it's
yeah.
just a running back. And outside of that, like if Montgomery's playing, you can't play Herbert. But if Montgomery's out, then Herbert is like a good play. And then you don't want to play any of the passing game. Like who cares? Like
Yeah.
just stay away right now.
The only
Fields
thing
is not playable.
like
Sorry.
no yeah like the only thing else I can say is Justin Fields has a set of legs on him. Um, we see this, and for this reason, he's a little bit better than your run of the mill like waiver quarterback. Um, but yeah, that's about it. Minnesota, it's Jefferson and Cook. Total studs. Keep playing him.
Mm-hmm.
Jefferson was open every single play in the first half. He had like 9 catches, and Kirk's like first like I think 14 attempts or whatever. It was nuts. Um, so yeah, I mean he
I
just went
think
off.
Yeah, I think I saw that he was like, yeah, like 9 for 122 in like the first 20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Um, but yeah, like Jefferson is really the only receiver you can start. The other guys are like they're flex options at best. I mean, even Adam Thielen is a flex option at best,
Yeah.
and not one that I'd be excited about.
No, I mean like Irv Smith, you could start. He's like a Robert Tanyan esque player. Um, but that's I mean you're not excited.
Right,
Um,
you're looking at
that's about it.
6 to 8 points at best, maybe.
Yeah,
Unless you get the
and it's
touchdown.
like it is what it is. But yeah. Do you have what? Would it be Texans Jaguars? Is the last game?
We have Texans Jags to hit on. We have
Falcons
Commanders,
Bucks.
Commanders Titans, Falcons Bucks, and Lions Pats.
Oh, I see. Okay, yes.
So I'm looking at Lions and Pats, and
Oh man, what a game.
yeah, I mean Goff came crashing down to earth. Um, he was like top 8 in quite a few metrics in the first few weeks, and yeah, Billy D's defense showed him what's up.
Mm.
Uh, Brought him right back to that Rams Super Bowl when they just like couldn't move the ball and we feel like they punted it every freaking drive.
It's sad, yeah.
Um, but the positives in this game, Jamal Williams, another 15 attempts, only 56 yards, but he's like definitely startable every time Swift is out because the
Hmm.
team just loves him and they're going to feed him. Um, Ramondre Stevenson for the Pats is like RB1 status now. Like he looks good. He's getting passing game work,
25
161
carries.
yards on 25 attempts. He's breaking tackles like a crazy man. Um, Stevenson is locked and loaded starter.
Hmm.
Um,
And so is Jacoby
pass,
Myers.
Passing game for the Pats. Jacoby Myers is the only piece, but he's a good piece. I mean, especially in PPR. I mean, he's going to be he's going to be the chain mover, and he's been finding the end zone already twice this year. So no reason to think he can't get to like maybe 6 or 7 touchdowns this season, which would be pretty cool for him.
Love
Uh,
Jacoby. Like, Jacoby Myers is a guy that's rarely gonna get you single-digit fantasy points. He's like 10 to 12 to 13, and it's like that never looks bad in your lineup from Jacoby Myers. And then
totally.
sometimes he
Yeah.
can have these like blow-up games, and it's like, wow, look at him, you know. Um, I love
Very
Jacoby Myers.
solid. But yeah, very solid wide receiver 3 or flex option for sure. Agreed.
Yep. Do you want to do Jags Texans?
Jags Texans. Okay, yeah.
It's I mean Damian Pierce. He's the story of this, right?
Right,
Um,
26 attempts.
100 yards, um, a touchdown. He runs hard. How can you not love this kid? Um,
Yep.
I don't know what to say.
I'd say he's the one locked and loaded starter for this team, and he's like a high end RB2 play. I mean, um, I'd say borderline RB1 play, depending on the matchup, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, I think even in a cut matchup, he's a good RB2 play. So, but outside of that, I mean, Cooks isn't startable. Nico Collins is kind of taking over that wide receiver one role over there, but not enough to make him like startable in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, and then Jaguars, they went to some different receivers this game. There was no Christian Kirk hardly at all, um, which is odd because like to me he's the only startable piece in the passing game.
Yeah.
Um,
I, I don't know why he didn't show up. He only had 1 for 11.
it's like the Houston Texans just zoned in on him and let Lawrence go to whoever else.
Yeah,
Um,
and it worked, I guess.
It worked. Lawrence, 47 attempts, only 25 completions, 2 interceptions. I didn't get to see the game, so I'm assuming they made it tough on Lawrence.
Yeah.
He was not stepping up in a home game against a division rival. It's not good. You want to see better from him. So he's outside of a QB2 and a super flex. You don't really want to be starting him. It's
And I mean, the only storyline here is ETN is on the rise and James Robinson is on the fall.
that's the last piece. Yes, sir. ETN. They both had 10 attempts, but ETN goes for 71 yards and Robinson goes for 27.
Inefficient.
And we've seen, yeah, inefficiency from Robinson each game declining. So, are you even starting Robinson at this point? Probably not, right?
I don't think you can. Just given the recent usage. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, like ETN, he's
More comfortable starting him now. Yeah.
yeah. I'm comfortable starting ETN, and it's looking like he could have that like second half explosion where he's like top five performance after top five performance. That's like in his range of outcomes because I mean you saw the explosion here, you saw
Hmm.
the pass catching. I mean you saw glimpses of it, even in
Yeah.
the game where they only scored 6 points. You know.
We could see him on a similar trajectory to Brees Hall, right?
Hmm.
I think at least that's the hope for him and this team. That's if this team is doing well, I would assume it's because ETN is also picking it up and turning in some better performances.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Falcons and Bucks.
Let's do it. Yes. Okay.
So like Fournette's an every week start, no matter what. Rashad White is a bench stash.
Love
Um,
Love Rashad White as stash.
And pass catchers for the Bucks. I mean, you're starting Evans every week. Um,
Is Godwin?
Godwin is back, man. I think he's startable. Cade Otton stepping up for Cameron Brate is notable. I mean, 6 grabs for 43 out of a rookie is it's pretty cool. So dynasty heads, if he's out there, he was probably drafted in most leagues this year and is probably sitting on like taxi squads and stuff. But it's worth checking the wire. He should be stashed.
Intriguing piece, like most definitely, because like that's no measly feat for a rookie tight end.
Not
Six
at
for
all.
40.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
very quite notable.
yeah. I mean that's big. It's a much bigger game than Kyle Pitts had on the other side of the ball. He misses the game in typical Kyle Pitts fashion. He has 0 points. Um, and I mean, like we could talk about it all we want or as little as we want, but the bottom line is Kyle Pitts has not been anything, anything close to what he's promised, and I think philosophically it has been wise and will continue to be wise to fade a guy like Pitts just because he has incredible expectations. Incredible. And every year people are going to talk themselves into this is the last year you're going to get Kyle Pitts as less than a first round pick. And they're going to do it every year and it happened last year, happened this year, and it's once again the idea of this guy is better than what he's actually giving you. Um,
Yep.
if the Kyle Pitts owner is thinking like I am, I'm not opposed to like going out and throwing like an insulting offer and being like, hey, like I'll try to take Pitts because like he is very talented. So if you can get him for nothing, he's a talented tight end that you should probably still be starting. But if you're starting him, you're probably not gonna get much because that's just how it's been. It's really hard and it's frustrating, but you signed up for it, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah, and Pitts is tough. I mean, um, I didn't draft him simply because of the state of the offense. So much the new quarterback who is shown to be bad. Um, Not much in way of other offensive weapons to help move the ball. Um, you know, in London, even as promising as he looks, he only had 4 grabs this game. I mean, this team is one that like I if I don't have to start one from this team, I won't. And the only ones who should be even considered are Algier, London, and Pitts.
Yeah,
And at that, like they're stinky starts.
they're fringe yet. I mean, Falcons probably the worst team in the league for fantasy. There's just not much going on here. Um, so yeah, it's kind of a waste of breath talking about them because they all suck.
Yep.
Um, is
So
last no, so we got Commanders and
Titans.
Titans.
Yep. Derrick
Okay.
Henry doing Derrick Henry things. 28 attempts, 100 yards, 2 scores. Winter's coming. I mean, I
Ugh.
don't know. Derrick Henry is definitely built different, but eventually, like these carries are going to catch up, right? That's what everyone keeps saying, anyways.
Yeah, they've been saying that for years. You there's no world where you ever bench Derrick Henry as long as he's starting or as long as he's playing. He's active in the game. He's Derrick Henry. Um, Robert Woods has been getting targets, and he's the wide receiver one because now Traylon Burks is on IR.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not opposed to flexing a guy like Woods. I mean, if he scores, he's going to put up 15 points. If he doesn't, he'll put up 10, approximately. Ryan Tannehill, leave him on your wire. He has no upside. He has no upside. No upside. No upside at all. Um, but man, I mean, it's really just more of the same. It's Derrick Henry, and more Derrick Henry, and without AJ Brown, it's even more Derrick Henry. So, 28 carries and 2 TDs. It's more of the same.
Yeah, I mean, this team is very uninspiring behind Henry.
It really is.
Uh, Other side of the ball, I mean, Antonio Gibson is practically dead.
He's so
Uh,
bad.
Brian Robinson had 9 attempts in his comeback, but you'd expect him to just continue to get more work as the season goes on. And his team's shown some signs of life. I mean, Carson Wentz at least makes it interesting. Uh, they're moving the ball, made this one close. It was a rather low scoring game, 21-17, but um, McLaurin is a grit your teeth and start at the flex spot. Curtis Samuel is start worthy, um, and Carson Wentz is streamable. So but that will be about it from the Commanders until we see Robinson's workload fully come on. Um, he would be the last one, the last
Yeah,
startable piece. But until then, it's just these guys.
yeah. I think it's pretty simply McLaurin and Samuel. You're trying to get in your lineup because they're gonna get there like one way or another, and then I think Brian Robinson is gonna be a starter um, sooner rather than later. But
Yeah,
until then, these are two of the most ugly teams to look at. Um,
they're pretty bad. Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's just an uninspiring game as a whole, you know. But
Um, oh no. Okay, so we have Carolina and 49ers.
yep, I think I think that's it. And once again, I think the stat was the 27th straight game that he's been active where Christian McCaffrey has had 100 scrimmage yards or a touchdown, and this one he does both. Um, 7 catches, 50 yards on the ground, a score. He's just the RB1. Or I mean, we've said that for Saquon, but like, you can make an argument for CMC. He's so good. If he gets traded to Buffalo, does that help him? Does that hurt him? Who knows? Um, it doesn't really matter. You're starting him no matter what. But besides that, man, it is a spooky scene in Carolina. It is a very, very, very spooky scene. After Matt Rule gets fired, everyone's saying free DJ Moore, free DJ Moore, and for good reason because he has his like third straight under 10 point game. I mean that's just kind of become the norm for DJ Moore. Um, God, I mean this team is very uninspiring. I don't get excited about anything. Um, what do you think about Carolina?
CMC is the only one that you can start. DJ Moore is. I mean, he's flex worthy, I guess, but like if you can find a way to sit him, I would. Um, Baker Mayfield should be left on the wire. He probably won't be a starter in the league next year. Um, I mean, yeah, it's ugly for Carolina. Team does not look good. Rules out. Who knows what happens next? Just get your popcorn ready, I guess. Uh,
Yeah,
49ers though are a little bit more fun to talk about. Ayuk led the team in yardage with 58 in receiving, but only on 3 receptions. George Kittle showed up a little bit today with 47 yards and 5 grabs. I mean,
which
they're both starters.
yeah, and you're very happy with that as a Kittle owner after these
Yeah,
last couple weeks. Um,
yeah,
it seems like he's not back on track because I mean he was never really off track, but I mean you're gonna keep playing Caleb if you have him because I mean he has an 80-yard touchdown in there somewhere. Just keep waiting a little bit, but Jeff Wilson Jr. is looking like he's gonna be that guy as long as Eli Moore is out. Um, I think this is his third straight. I don't want to talk about my ass, but I think this is his third straight 20 point game. Um, could be. Either way, he's been a total stud.
yeah.
Wait. All right, so he had 20. Oh, okay, yeah, that was out of my ass. But he has been playing well, and I mean, besides him, Debo, he scores. He's getting that crazy usage. He's a total stud. You're playing him. Um, Jimmy G, can you start Jimmy G? I don't want to, but I suppose you could.
He's
Um,
in the Carson Wentz range. He's streamable in the right matchup. Like this one, I would
yeah,
have I would have streamed Garoppolo if I had to against the Panthers for sure.
right. But I mean, he's uninspiring.
Right.
Um, yeah, I suppose I don't have any more thoughts past that. I'm really excited about Jeff Wilson. Um, while he's playing, Tevin Coleman has a big game, but I don't know. I mean, what do you think about that?
I didn't even know Tevin Coleman was on the 49ers until I saw this box score and he scored a touchdown. So,
Yeah, I was like, huh? Um,
okay. But no, I think from the 49ers, it's Ayuk, Kittle, Samuel, and Wilson. Those are your four starters. Um, but that's it. You know, and like you said, Garoppolo's streamable.
Man, I'm reading Tevin Coleman's blurb. He's back on the practice squad today after scoring 2 touchdowns on Sunday. That's just a rough world.
That's amazing. Wow, yeah, 3 for 43 catches for 44 yards and a touchdown. And he's on the practice squad because
Yeah.
who's healthy?
TDP, I think.
Oh wow,
Well, shit.
man.
Well, I think I think that covers all of our bases.
I think it does too.
Yeah,
Very big week for football. It's good to check in. Um,
it was a
let's.
really fun week.
It was a fun week, and hopefully, week 6 can keep the train rolling.
Yeah. Do you have any parting words, any parting takes before before next week starts up here?
I would make backup plans for Thursday in case the game is no fun, because most likely it will not be. So, you know,
Yeah, it's
bring a board game or something
oh
to your
no,
friend's house,
it's
just in
it's
case.
uh maybe Uno. What are some other good ones? We got
Yeah, or yeah, just a deck of cards would be good. You know, a game
yeah.
of poker could end up being more fun than the Bears and Commanders game.
Oh my God, yeah. All right. Well, on that note, with with that last beautiful thought in our head of the Commanders playing the
I
Bears.
guess, you know, but with good advice. Let's say this
Okay.
is where bye weeks do kick in. I know the Lions are on bye. I think that there's a couple other teams on bye. So double check your team's um, matchups next week when you're looking at your waiver wire ads. Don't just be looking at your scores from this past week. Make sure you're double checking your guys.
Good thinking, cause there's that weird like refractory period where
Mm-hmm.
they like where it only shows your scores, which I've always hated, by the way. I don't know why it does that on like Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
but yeah. All right. Well, um, here I'm gonna stop recording.